Hello and welcome back to Biology for Beginners. As always, I'm your host, Morgan. This week we're going to continue our flirtatious introduction with cells and talk about the nucleus and ribosomes. As always, right now you are seeing the terms and definitions slide from my slideshow, and you are more than welcome to pause the video and grab that so that you are up to date on all the vocabulary you will be hearing in this video. Alternatively, if you'd like to follow along with my presentation, remember that you can pop on over to my Patreon and grab my PDF of my slides for absolutely free. But my patrons do get access to this video and the PDFs and any other materials that I've made to go along with my little video lectures a whole day early. So without further ado, let's get into it. As we go about in our everyday life, we have a specific part of our body that controls everything we do and sends out the signals that keep us functioning properly. And that particular organ that we're talking about is the brain. Now, just like the larger human, a single cell, well, if we're talking about eukaryotic cells specifically, also has an organelle that is very similar. This organelle is the nucleus. The nucleus contains all of the DNA, which is the information necessary for the cellular activity that keeps that cell functioning just like it should. And the nucleus is surrounded by a double membrane known as the nuclear envelope. And just like the cellular membrane, these membranes that make up that double membrane that protects all the DNA and that fun stuff in the nucleus is made up of the phospholipid bilayers. So because it has this double membrane, the nucleus is nice and secure for the purpose of storing all of this genetic material. The problem here is that DNA is very long. A quick example that is specifically the one mentioned in the textbook I am using is the length of the 46 human chromosomes. Now, if you were to stretch these out, it would be about 2 meters in length. However, the problem here is that they need to fit inside a very tiny space that is about 5 micrometers in diameter. So much, much, much smaller. The solution here is actually the chromatin, which is the DNA and protein complex that keeps everything together. And on most parts of this cell's life, the chromatin is going to be kind of squished into the nucleus and kind of undefined. However, when it does get ready to replicate, the chromosomes will then condense into that kind of X formation you're used to seeing, which is the image we have here in the bottom corner of this particular slide. So to kind of reiterate that, when the cell is not replicating, the chromatin is kind of in a jumbled, messy ball, whereas when it's getting ready to replicate, you will get those neat little tightly coiled X's that are perfect for the replication and division of the DNA to make 2 brand new cells. But we'll get more into that when we actually get to cellular reproduction. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves now. Another important part of the nucleus that we need to discuss is the nucleolus. And this is the location where a special kind of RNA is made. This RNA is the ribosomal RNA, or rRNA. This RNA is so important because it assembles the ribosomes, and ribosomes are the things that basically make the proteins. And this rRNA is able to assemble the 2 subunits of ribosomes because proteins can enter from the cytoplasm, and then the rRNA then takes those encoded messages from the genetic material to assemble those ribosomes so that they can then be used later. And now that we've mentioned that our RNA helps to assemble those ribosomes, let's talk a little bit more about the ribosomes themselves. They can be either free suspended in the cytosol or bound to the outside of the endoplasmic reticulum or nuclear envelope. And where they are doesn't particularly matter so much for this particular topic of discussion because their function is essentially the same. They use the information encoded in the messenger RNA or mRNA to make proteins. And this messenger RNA brings this code to them from the DNA that is kept neatly tucked away inside that nucleus. And if you kind of look at the image that I have provided here, it kind of shows those bound ribosomes and the free ribosomes and the little bit of the snapshot of that mRNA between the two subunits of a ribosome with the protein coming out. However, there is a bit more technical conversation to be involved with this particular function, but that will be for another day. For now, what you need to know is that these ribosomes are existing in this bound and free state, and they use mRNA to make the proteins. But that is about what I have for you today. This is a very heavy topic of discussion, but it is very important because the nucleus and ribosomes are what keep the cells functioning. Without the nucleus keeping all that genetic material safe and the ribosomes to then take the information translated into those RNA units into proteins, your cells and you would not be able to function. Again, the nucleus is specifically a part of eukaryotic cells, not prokaryotic cells. And the functions of those prokaryotic cells, while very similar to eukaryotic cells, are just carried out a little bit differently. But again, I will stop torturing you now, and I do hope that you were able to find some value in this video about the nucleus and ribosomes. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, afternoon, evening, what have you. I will see you all in the next one. Thank you again for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell if you would like to see more. And if you'd like to follow me on any of my other social medias, the links are down in the description below. Don't forget to check out thereptilegoth.com for all of my articles and blog posts. If you found any value in this video and you would like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon page. That link is also in the description down below. And a special thanks goes out to my Diamond Dragon patron, Diane B. What you're doing is really helping me fund a dream here. I will see you guys all in the next one.